What's going on, Acadiana? This is Coach Heath, and I got one of my blue belts, Duran, here with me, and we're gonna go over the Acadiana Jiu Jitsu Invitational rule set. So Duran had a couple of questions about it. He's like, I don't really know what's going on. So we're gonna inform him and inform you guys of some of the differences between the Acadiana Jiu Jitsu Invitational rules versus other rule sets for no-gi, submission only grappling. So first thing we're gonna go over is regulation time. So the best comparison for our rule set is the EBI rule set, the Eddie Bravo Invitational rule set. So starting from there, there's a regulation time and then there is an overtime. So we're hoping that everybody gets a good finish in the regulation time. That way the overtime doesn't have to play a part in it. So the regulation time matches begin with no points. It's a submission only regulation time round. And the time will vary depending on the match order. Like the first round will be 6 minutes of the tournament.
Okay.
The second round will be 8 minutes, and the finals will be 10 minutes.
Okay.
That's for the regulation time. If no submission happens during the regulation time, we're gonna have to go to the overtime. So what overtime is we have, if there's no submission in regulation time, there'll be overtime rounds. All right, so there's 3 overtime rounds in 2 minutes each.
Right.
And the way that works is kind of like in baseball innings. They have the top of the inning and the bottom of the inning.
Yeah.
So there's like one person's on offense and one person's on defense. A coin toss decides who gets offense or defense and what position they get in. They can get into 3 positions. The back position. So we can start here on your back. All right. We can start in the armbar position. Right here. All right. And what's new for our invitational is you can also get in the 411 position. All right, so we can start in any of these 3 positions where there's someone on offense like me because I'm attacking, and then someone on defense, Duran, he's defending. So if let's say I won the coin toss, I would choose, maybe I want offense and I want the back. So I get to choose to be on your back and you got to defend first. So okay. If there's an escape, the time it took you to escape is the escape time. All right. So then I get a chance. All right. Then now you're on my back or whatever position you want, and then I have a chance to escape, and you have to submit me. All the escape time is going to be added up at the end, and whoever has the least amount of escape time would win.
Okay.
Unless there's a submission. Okay. So that submission changes them. If there's an offensive submission at the top of any round, at the bottom of the round, the other person must get a faster submission. So if I submit you, if I got your back first, and let's say I choke you out in 2 seconds, boom, I got you in 2 seconds. When it's your turn, and you can choose whatever position, but when it's your turn, you have to choke me out faster or I win.
Okay.
All right, cool.
No problem.
All right, so last one. If there's escape at the top of the round and a submission at the bottom of the round, then the submission wins immediately. So if I escape at the beginning and then I submit you, I win. We don't have to do any more overtime rounds.
Okay.
All right. What's different about our rule set is we have defensive submissions though. Okay, so a defensive submission automatically wins no matter where you're at. So in overtime. So let's say Duran has my back. He's on offense and I'm on defense. But let's say he makes a mistake and crosses his legs. If I get him in a defensive submission and I make him tap, I automatically win. All right. Another example of this is if he's got me in cross ashigarami and he's battling for my leg, but I'm able to get a counter submission and tap him, I would automatically win. All right. So that's a defensive submission. All right. So moving on. Now we have overtime escapes. So what constitutes an escape? We wanted to give clear-cut definitions on what constitutes an escape. So, Duran, if I have your back, and when they say go, if his elbow can clear the plane of my chest, once that elbow clears the plane of my chest, he's out. Let's say there's a gift wrap position, right? And he can't get that elbow clear, but his hips turn 180 degrees towards me. He's out. All right? So those are like the back escapes. Oh, one more. If I have, say, diagonal control, all right, we're wrestling all around. As long as I maintain diagonal control, he's still in there. But if he slips the bottom hook out, boom, he's out. If he gets rid of this underhook and starts turning the right way, yeah, no, the right way, very good. Then he's out. Cool? All right. For the arm bar position, when you're back, he's not out when he just clears the elbow. If he just clears the elbow, we can recollect this pretty easily. So not only does he have to clear the elbow, but he has to clear his head too. Once his elbow and his head's out, we're gonna consider him escaped. Another thing is maybe he clears the head, but as he comes up, turn face them around. Keep going, go. Let's say I still have his shoulder trapped. All right, he's not out until he squares his shoulders within my guard, and that's considered the escape. The last one is the cross-ashi position, or the honey hole, or the saddle, whatever you want to call it. All right, so we're here. Duran, not only does he clear his knee, so if he hip escapes out and clears his knee, he's not out if he clears his knee for the same reason that I can recollect and keep attacking. He's gonna have to clear his ankle past my leg line. All right, so those are the escapes. That's what's gonna be the definition of an escape in these positions. But now let's go over overtime transitions. So this is gonna be where the water gets a little murky, guys. So please pay attention and follow with me. Overtime transitions. I have to establish a clear-cut controlled position with at least 2 limbs to the next limb before a transition. What I mean for that is if I'm here, all right, to transition to an arm bar, I have to have 1, 2 limbs of control before I switch. If I want to go from the arm bar to a leg lock, I have to have 1, 2 limbs of control before I start attacking. What this is to prevent if he slips his elbow, it's like, oh no, I'm about to lose it. I'm gonna just come up with this thing on the top of my head and maybe jump on this leg. No, you can't do that. The referee's gonna be looking for clear-cut intent, looking at that limb, getting 1 or 2 limbs on it before we start the transition. All right, so there's gonna be a little bit more action than what you might be used to in the overtime rounds, but hey, that's kind of what this is about. All right, so defensive overtime transitions. Okay. Stalling out in a wrestling round. So if all of the overtime rounds go the full 2 minutes and no escapes have been made, there's gonna be 1 final overtime round, and it's gonna be a wrestling round. It's gonna be a 2-minute round. It's gonna be the first person to establish a dominant position, all right, or a submission. If there's a guard pull into a submission, or if there's a guard pull, you have to sweep or take the back or get to a dominant position in less than like 3 seconds, all right? You have like very minimal time that if you're gonna pull guard to get to a dominant position, it has to be fast. If you pull, boom, 1, 2, 3, then I have to hold him down for 1, 2, 3 seconds to win. If I go for a standing submission in this overtime round, maybe I go for a guillotine and I pull guard. If he pops his head out, I have like 3 seconds to get up to a dominant position. If he holds me here for 3 seconds, I lose. I'm gonna have to get out and get to a neutral position, or maybe potentially sweep to a dominant position and hold the position for 3 seconds. You can pull guard, but you can't use it to stall. All right? And that brings us kind of to stalling now. It's kind of like in baseball. You get 3 and you're done. 3 strikes, you're out. So you get 2 warnings. And then on the 3rd one, DQ. Okay. This goes for like fleeing the mat, failure to engage, all those things. No stalling. We don't want that. We want action. All right? For out of bounds. So this kind of goes with fleeing the mat. If the action goes out of bounds, the referee is going to stop the match. He's going to say stop, and he's going to reset you closer to the walls. The whole point of having the walls there is to have another dimension to work off of and to keep it in a general area in this small space. All right, kind of like we used to call it fighting in a phone booth, right, when the ring was real small. But anyway, yeah. So the only way the referee's gonna let it go out of bounds is if a submission attempt is in play.
Okay.
So let's say we're rolling for a heel hook and the guy rolls out of bounds. The referee's gonna make a physical barrier. He's gonna stand in between you and whoever is in the crowd once you pass the line, or God forbid you get near my mirrors. But if in the rare occasion the referee does stop the action, it's probably from the other person fleeing the mat. So they're gonna get their one warning for fleeing the mat, and the referee, in this rare occasion, will reset them. Let's say I was going for a heel hook and we were rolling. He's not gonna reset me with the heel hook locked in. He's gonna reset me in the same position, but without the leverage to finish. All right, so if I was rolling for this heel hook and he says, stop, and I didn't finish, when he resets us in the middle, I just won't have the leverage to finish, but I can still have all my control position.
Okay.
All right. And like I said, man, this is if you didn't have a stalling warning before, you're definitely gonna have a stalling warning if you flee the mat.
Definitely.
If you do it again, like I said, it's 3 strikes, you're out.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that brings us to now the wall. We have the wall work too. So you can use the wall, and there's a 90-degree corner. All right. Most time, if you're in a cage, it's either a circle cage or it has like these bigger angle corners. This is a 90-degree corner, guys. So like you can use that to whatever you need. Stick baby in the corner or whatever it may be. But the idea is to kind of fuse the MMA grappling or self-defense situations with actual like competition submission grappling.
All right.
Yeah. That brings us to our illegal techniques. Okay, so just for the adults, this is just for the adults. There's gonna be no small joint manipulation. You can't grab a finger and try and rip it off. Head spike takedowns. If I pick up Duran on a double leg, I'm responsible for his safe return to the mat. You can't spike them on their heads with like judo throws or double legs or anything like that. Now, you can slam them on their back as hard as you want. That's fine in a takedown. When it comes to like having the guard, like if I'm stuck in your guard, I'm not allowed to pick you up and slam you. The same thing goes for like arm bars and stuff. If you're arm barring me, I can't pick you up and slam you out of the arm bar. That's not cool. All right. Striking of any kind. You can't punch anybody. So what constitutes striking versus what's allowed in grappling? It's all about contact and force. If I have contact and then I put the force in it, that's all good, man. That's grappling. But if there's force, then contact, that's a slap. Okay? So don't come out and like try to club somebody in the head. That's considered a strike. That's illegal. But you can grab their head and shove it as hard as you like once the contact's been made. All right. Fingers or toes in any orifice. No fish hooking, no eye pokes, and no oil checks. You know who you are. All right, and brings us to the illegal children's technique. So if you're a child, there's no jumping guard. So no jumping guard of any kind. If you jump close guard, you're kind of throwing your whole body weight onto someone, and that's just not safe for the kids. Flying submissions for the kids are illegal. And I mean like flying submissions on someone that's standing. So just because I don't want them, the same reason I don't want them jumping guard and landing the full body that could like, land on their knee. I don't want them going for like flying submissions that could land on the knee or potentially land on their own head and knock them out. But if the opponent is down already and you want to go for like a Davi Ramos going up in there, hey, take it home with you. Eat your heart out, kids. You can go for that. So no flying attacks on a standing opponent in the kids. And that means like flying scissor takedowns too. No flying scissors for the kids. The adults, we're gonna let it go because you guys are, should be professionals and you should know how to defend that by now. Also for kids, no neck cranks or spine locks. We don't want any neck cranks or spine locks. We know sometimes the water gets a little murky, but if it's, we're gonna have good referees there. If they're intentionally trying to crank the neck versus compress the chest, or crank the neck versus, go for the choke, we're gonna do our best to regulate that. I don't care how bad anyone grabs their head, this is jiu-jitsu. Sometimes they grab their arm, it is what it is. So No neck cranks, no spinal locks for the kids, and no submissions below the waist. No straight ankles or heel hooks or anything like that. Or no electric chairs or banana splits or anything like that either. All right, and the last rule for the main tournament, every competitor is required to bring $100 cash the day of the tournament. All right, this is just how it works. Throw your money in the pot, try your luck. First place this year is getting $1,000. And second place gets their money back.
All right.
So seems pretty fair. We're also gonna be giving a submission of the night bonus. So that's gonna be like a $50 bonus. And even the spotlight matches, the kids, they are susceptible to getting the submission of the night, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
The whole point of this invitational is to just pay the athletes for doing good work. A lot of times we can spend a lot of money traveling, paying tuition, paying gis, no gi stuff, you know, the prices can add up. So the idea is, you know, have a little local tournament to where, like, if you do well in jiu-jitsu, you can get paid for it. Both, you know, adults and hopefully eventually children. So guys, that's the Acadiana Jiu Jitsu Invitational rules. If you have any questions, just let us know in the comments, send us a DM, whatever it is, or show up a little early for the tournament and we'll explain everything. Doors, it's gonna be at November 18th over here at Acadiana Jiu Jitsu. This will be the main space. We're gonna spruce it up a little bit for you guys, but doors open at 11 a.m. for check-in for the athletes. The rules meeting will be at 11:30 a.m. and competition will begin at noon. You have any other questions, Duran?
No, I think you got it all.
All right, guys, we hope to see y'all on the mats November 18th, Acadiana Jiu Jitsu 3.